People are starting to question Nick Shirley's investigation, and they might just have some good points. Now, Nick Shirley made a great investigation the other day about fraud in Minnesota at daycare centers, autism, healthcare centers, things like that. And recently, a lot of people have been bringing up accusations against Nick Shirley. Well, I guess they are accusations, but they're true. The fact that he went, well, I didn't confirm the business hours myself, but it seems that Nick Shirley visited some of these daycare centers when they were not operating. That is, during a time when they were not open. Basically, he went at about 11 a.m. It seems like, as you can see here, I have a tweet from Destiny of all people. I already know I'm going to get hate for this video. I already know I'm going to get people, right-wingers, accuse me of being a lefty or something and being like, oh, why are you defending fraud and are you on the side of Somalis? I don't care about Somalis, all right? I don't really care that, well, I mean, I was going to say I don't care about Minnesota, but I don't care about the state itself. I do care about fraud, obviously, in any part of this country, in any part of the world, really. What I'm trying to say is I'm not defending fraud, all right? What I am trying to do is clear up his investigation and make sure that we're accusing the right places of fraud and that we're doing it with the full amount of evidence that we can that we have available. And I also called into question in my last video the fact that him and the other guy that he has with him, I think his name is David, I don't know, the older white guy, the figures that he has about how much money was given to each daycare center in each year. And people in the comments were like, "Oh, it's easy, bro. Just go to the MPAC or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't remember what it's called. CCPM? Is that what it's called? Something like that." Anyway, they're like, "Just go there and you'll find all the figures." Well, it's not that easy, all right? So if somebody can figure it out for me, someone less obtuse than me, someone more intelligent than me, maybe you can find it. Because look, this is a general report, right? It doesn't have any, I already looked through it. It doesn't have any list of the actual daycare centers and how much they're getting. I'm sure maybe there's something on this page with the reports that says exactly. I want to know exactly where that guy got the information, David. I say his name is David. I don't even actually know if his name is David. Also, if my hair looks a little different, I put it up in a freaking, well, I'm using a hairband. It's not a bun or something, but people keep saying that my hair is, that I need to comb my hair. Well, guess what, you idiot? If I comb my hair, it's going to look exactly the same because it's unruly, all right? I have wavy hair. It's just how it is. I'm sorry I don't have straight, perfect hair, all right? So anyway, I think it looks nice here, but it does look a little, I feel like I look like a woman almost. Anyway, I'm sure somewhere on this page you can find statistics for how much money went to which daycare centers in Minnesota. I can't figure it out. I am not going to bother clicking through all these pages to figure out where it is. Now, I looked at this and it says you can see the expenditure reports, but when I go there, it gives you overall general expenditure reports. It shows you like how much was spent overall for the year. It doesn't tell you how much was spent at each daycare center, which is what I want to know, because that's what Nick Shirley and the other guy were saying in the investigation. Like we know exactly how much each daycare center got, and look, this is more of the same thing. So I kind of looked through these reports, and I was like, I don't see any places listed. They're just overall kind of general figures. So anyways, the main part of this video today, I'm not doing an investigation or anything. Yes, I'm just a reactor, all right? I don't do the hard work. Like I said, Nick Shirley had a great video, okay? I'm not saying that there's not fraud in Minnesota. I'm not defending fraud. I just want to make it clear because I already know I'm going to get idiots commenting. Oh, you're on the side of the leftists. You're propagating fraud. Perpetuating fraud. No, what's the word? Propagating? Yeah, maybe propagating is the right word. But I just want to call into question if there's some legitimacy in this business that Nick Shirley's calling out. It kind of ruins his whole investigation. It calls into question the whole investigation. I'm not saying I'm calling it into question. I'm sure that a lot of the places he visited are actually committing fraud. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them are committing fraud. But the fact that he made some mistakes in his investigation cause people like Destiny to make posts like this, where he calls the whole thing into question and puts journalism in quotes and says Nick Shirley isn't doing any real work, basically. The whole thing is bad faith. I don't agree with that, obviously. And to be fair, I like Destiny a lot less recently. Ever since the Charlie Kirk shooting, he went full unhinged. But I used to like Destiny. I think he has generally fair takes, even for a crazy leftist. I don't agree with him on basically anything. But I always think he tries to be at least logical and honest in his opinions. And so here, I think he brings up some fair points. Like I said, I don't agree with them. I don't think that the whole investigation is thrown out because of one instance where they found that the business was closed when Nick Shirley went to visit it. But I can see why it's a problem. It is a problem because now it causes people like Destiny, other leftists, Harry Sisson, who else? The Argentinian guy, what's his name? David Pacman. Other people are tweeting things like basically casting doubt on Nick Shirley's investigation. So let's read Destiny's tweet here. I see this. This was, I think, 2 days ago. Let me see. Sorry about that. December 28th. This was, 3 days ago. I see this slot picking up a lot of attention. And while I have a bunch of questions about a lot of shoddy quote unquote journalism that was done for the video, here's an easy quick question to demonstrate how bad faith the video was done. Nick Shirley, why did you visit a place of business and not show the sign posted on the door that showed the hours of operation? Is it because it would have shown that you showed up a full hour before it even opened? Images 1 and 2 show a fan of Destiny's going to the business and taking a picture of the sign he tried to hide. That is, Nick Shirley tried to hide. And it clearly stated the hours of operation were 2 to 10 p.m. Image 3, the photo of the phone screen of the lady who answers the door at the next place you visit. The time listed on the phone is 1:09 p.m. This happens at 22:20 in the video. Image 4, the next photo is the time being listed as 2:33 p.m. for the next place you visit. This happens at 33:08 in the video. So he provides good evidence about the fact that Nick Shirley visited before the daycare claims to be open, claims that they're running their daycare, their business. And I have no reason to doubt that this is true. I mean, it looks legitimate. I don't know. And I don't know if it was posted in the video. I actually should have had it open just to check. But I mean, you can see here it's stated 2 to 10. Maybe they put this up after the fact, but I feel like it would have been too, I don't know. I don't see how the owners of the video could have done this to defend themselves from fraud and been like, oh, Nick Shirley was here at 11. Let's claim we open after 11. You know what I mean? I highly doubt that's what happened. I'm sure somebody will say that's what actually happened. And then Destiny provides more evidence here based on the lighting that Nick Shirley went before their hours of operation. And there's another video where I think Nick kind of admits to this, or he kind of agrees with the CNN reporter, like, oh yeah, actually, I guess I did visit outside of the hours of operation. He's like, the CNN reporter brings up fair points, but what about this other stuff? And now he's kind of, you know, the fact that he's not able to answer straight brings into question the rest of his of the daycares that he visited, even though they can only question this one. And I think there's another one where they also said that he also investigated and that there are also kids there. He just visited when they were closed or something. We'll watch this video and you'll see it's a little bit difficult for Nick to defend himself because he did kind of make a mistake in visiting when they were closed.
Nick Shirley, back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. So I'm not out here trying to
Oh my gosh, what was the quality so bad?
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various...
Oh, so this is the other one where they were saying...
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came...
Sorry, the other one where he knocked, I think, is the one where they're saying was also closed when he went to visit.
At 11 a.m., I believe.
So he admits...
I also came the following day, later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that...
Notice that he said later in the day. He didn't say I came during normal operating hours or the time that he showed up. It was probably maybe 12 or 1 and they were still closed. Because why didn't he say, oh, I came at 4 p.m. They should have been open. That would have been a layup for him. That would have been an easy way to defend himself. To be like, oh, they should have been open, but they weren't when I came here. Why were they not open?
Blacked out doors. They can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside. And there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
He has a fair point. Now, one thing, like I said, I'm not trying to defend fraud. I hate that I have to keep saying this, but I know some idiot is going to be in the comments like saying, oh, you're defending the fraudsters. But I could believe this being more like a community-run business, right? It seems like the Somalis have strong communities, right? Like they all stick together, basically. They all work with each other. It's kind of like, I guess, kind of like how Jewish people do it. Like, you know, they hire each other, they work with each other, do business with each other. I could see Somalis doing the same thing. Maybe this is how these daycares work. They kind of don't need a market to outsiders because all of the clients are other Somalis. And so it's kind of like word of mouth marketing. You know, you send a text to people you know, or you have all their numbers personally, or it's just something the community knows. They don't have to go and find it on a website or go and call the number. They just hear it from word of mouth. Some, a cousin or a brother or something is like, hey, there's this daycare if you need it. These are the hours they operate, and they go check it out. They go with them or something. I could see that. I'm explaining it away, but I could see it's not plausible. Plausible, implausible? I could see this happening is what I'm saying. Is it likely? I don't know. But that would be a way to explain why some of this stuff happens. And that's in itself, it is kind of fishy. The fact they have a phone number, they don't answer, the fact that the door's closed. The door's closed outside of operating hours. So, that's how you don't even have to explain that. But the idea that it doesn't really look like a real business, you could explain that. But that's not necessarily in and of itself evidence or enough evidence. Maybe it might be a bit of evidence, but it's not enough evidence to accuse the business of fraud. Now, I understand there's other things involved that they're using to accuse the business of fraud, but I'm just saying this is another way you can cast doubt on the investigation that hurts the video overall.
Surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
It should
daycare.
be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
And so,
Yeah, look, I don't have kids. I said in the last video, I don't know anybody who has kids. It's just a sign of the times, Gen Z, Gen X, or millennials or whatever. Nobody's having kids. So I don't know how daycares work, to be honest. But I saw another video where a lady was explaining, like, oh yeah, usually daycares are locked, and then you press the button, you buzz the entrance, and then they let you in. That's why they have. Oh, I should have muted myself. I forgot I have a mute button. Sorry. And at this center, if you watch the video, there's it's almost like a Ring camera, and it looks like you can press it. It looks like there's a button, and I assume you buzz it and they let you in. If you're bringing your kid or whatever. And it looked like that's what happened in the other video of the lady explaining, like, oh, the door's locked, but I buzz it, and then I could come in and pick up my kid. So it seems like this is standard practice to have the doors locked at all times.
okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Look, and he says, you bring up a fair point, but why aren't they operating like a real business? And to that, I would say, perhaps it's possible that, like I said, these are community run. They don't really need to cater to outsiders because they cater to their own community, and they get new clients through word of mouth. Maybe they're just an inefficient business. There's a lot of those. Maybe they're doing fine with the Somali kids they have, with taking care of people in their own community. Is that likely? Like I said, I don't know. Would they get a lot more business if they were better at organizing themselves and their marketing? Like, yeah, probably. Now, he said, why can't they help me enroll a kid? Like I said, he went during closed hours. So how would they possibly? They didn't even open the door, did they? So yeah, how could they enroll a kid for you if they didn't even answer the door for you? And mind you, there is an issue here where a lot of the people that answer don't speak English that well. Like, bro, come on. Why are you? You shouldn't even be let in, all right, if you don't speak at least conversational English. If you can't understand Nick Shirley asking, how can I enroll my kid into this daycare? You shouldn't be in this country. You know what I mean? But to me, that's just more evidence of the fact that they can't speak English is more evidence of the fact that these are community-run businesses, probably, and they only accept people from their community, and they speak to each other in their own. They probably don't even want outsiders because it would be kind of difficult to take care of a kid that doesn't speak their language or whatever.
Federal law enforcement has.
Now, I'm not saying there's not the possibility of fraud still. I'm not saying there's not fraudulent daycares. I'm sure a good amount, if not all, of the videos that Nick Shirley investigated in his video are fraudulent or committing fraud. I'm just saying all of these things cast doubt on his investigation, and you could see a scenario in which this
Been
happens.
investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
Then why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares?
Okay, this is a stupid accusation from this lady. Oh, don't you think they're doing enough? They already indicted all these people. Well, if that's true and there's still fraud prevalent, well, obviously not. It's like saying, what, you really think they're not doing enough about homicide? There's 10 killers in jail right now. Like, well, if there's still homicide, then obviously not, you idiot. All right, but anyway,
There's no
stupid
children.
point from her.
They're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly 100.
Like I said, still don't know where the millions of dollars came from. Not saying I don't believe him, but I'd like to see a source.
$110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys the We showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own announcement.
What you showed us happening was you showing up to a daycare at 11 a.m. when they opened at 2, saying, oh, there's no kids here, but they're closed. So this is a fair, as much as I hate to say, this is a fair point from the CNN lady. How do you know the allegations you're making are true? Show us, just tell us the sources for the millions of dollars that you allege the daycares are defrauding taxpayers of. Because that way we can go and investigate ourselves and see, oh yeah, look, this is an official page where they say this is how much they're sending to each daycare. Because later in the video, you'll see they show a video of a daycare where there's, and not in this video, I'm going to show another video, where they have a daycare where there's 12 kids, sorry. And they claim to be licensed for 40 kids. Now, I don't know what that means. Licensed for 40 kids? It says in the information that Nick Shirley provided. Does that mean they only accept up to 40 kids? They're getting paid for 40 kids? They have to have 40 kids enrolled? Like, I don't know what that means. So that's another thing. I'm just saying, like, these allegations need to be a little bit more concrete and have more evidence behind them, I think.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen?
I found that funny. Like, the daycare answered and said they're legitimate. Like, what the fuck did you expect? Oh, actually, no, we're fraudulent. Yeah, no, Nick Shirley's right. Yeah, we're committing fraud over here. Like what? What did you expect?
The videos,
You idiot.
Purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside.
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of
I
children
can barely fucking read this because the quality's so
walked
bad.
aside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the Commissioner of Children literally said a week ago this place was closed. Did you know that?
That is true. Tiki, whatever the hell your name is, I have it open on another tab, said that this place was closed. Now, that's probably just a result of government stupidity, which is common. And I mean, everybody who works in the government is probably useless, and that's why they don't work in the public sector. It is weird, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that there's some idiot working in government that lied, basically.
Face right now.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full fallout remains to be seen.
Whitney, you mentioned in your story that there were dozens of convictions going back to 2022. Can you explain what those convictions established?
Well, this was really the beginning of this massive fraud case
That there is fraud.
Has now led to more than 50 convictions, 56 people at least convicted as of September of this year, Jim. At least 78 people have been indicted in that case. It was this sprawling investigation that, DOJ has really touted as their effort to try to root out what is a fraud problem here in Minnesota, Jim.
And then, of course, that many...
Now, I find it weird that the CNN reporter is questioning that these daycare centers are fraudulent because, like she said herself, there have already been convictions for these daycare centers. So why is she surprised that somebody's investigating them? If anything, that's evidence that perhaps there's more fraud, And it's not like this is some, not conspiracy. It's not like this is like entirely manufactured or invented by people who are accusing places of, or Somali people of fraud. It's not uncommon for Somalis. I have another case here open where is it? Feeding Our Future was, I think, a COVID era thing where they were like feeding kids or something. Basically, the government was providing them funds to feed kids. Let me see. Let me look at what it says just to be sure. A school meal program. Okay, yes, so it was for kids. And as you can see here, these are all the people that were convicted. Just look at the names. I'm not even... Bekam, Hadith, Hana, Abdul, Anab, Liban, Mulada, Mohammed, Lubashir, Abdul Qadir, Kamar. Like, these are all Somali people, bro. Like, it's a stereotype now. Like, unfortunately for them, like you can't claim racism or play the victim. When people say, oh, the Somali community is known to commit fraud, because they are. It seems like, so all this to say, like, Nick Shirley is pulling at a thread that probably has, or that does have roots in reality, but he should have made a more concrete video. He should have had all his evidence ready, made sure he went at the hours of operation, made sure he could speak with somebody that represents a business just to be certain that his investigation was as thorough as it could be, and he didn't make mistakes like he did visiting outside of actual operating hours, so that people like this, Brian Krasenstein, could cast doubt on the entire video. Now let's see what this person says. There's direct evidence that Nick Shirley is a liar. Okay, see, like, obviously he's not a liar. He might have made a mistake and visited outside of hours. Maybe he didn't know their hours. It's probably likely that he didn't know their hours. He just expected, 11 a.m. they're probably open. Now, something else that somebody mentioned was that because it's Christmas, New Year's week, maybe they were closed or maybe their hours were different, and that makes sense. But actually, I would expect the daycares to be more busy because kids are off from school. But maybe their parents also got time off work and they can take care of the kids during that time, so maybe the daycares, maybe that's why they're empty. That's plausible to me as well. So here is one of the daycare owners confronted in Nick Shirley's video, and there's actually kids there.
This is ABC Learning Center in Minneapolis.
They have to learn ABC and numbers.
Director Ahmed Hassan gave WCCO a tour after finding his daycare in the national spotlight.
Look at how sad, look how sad this is. Like, little girls in hijabs, like, bro. Like, men can't, I don't know.
All right, we've arrived
I'm not even
to
gonna say anything.
ABC
You guys know what I'm trying to say.
Learning Center.
In a now viral video, right-wing YouTuber Nick Shirley claims nearly a dozen daycare centers in Minnesota are taking public funds but not providing a service. He says ABC Learning Center is one of them, knocking on the door in mid-December.
I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Hassan says his employee didn't respond because Shirley was in a group of about 8 people, and his staff were concerned about recent ICE activity.
Is this daycare committing fraud?
That's something that should not be happening. The businesses, like, not opening up to ICE, like, bro. I don't know. It's just, that's a whole separate issue. Like, the fact that they thought it was ICE, and I like how CBS reports it, like, it's not an issue. Like, that's not a problem that they're, like, scared of ICE. Why are you scared of ICE? Oh, it's because you're here illegally and you're going to be deported. Like, bro.
No,
it's just silly.
No, we're not committing fraud.
Hassan showed us security.
Bro, also, this is funny as well. Like, bro, you can't ask a fraudster, a potential fraudster, are you committing fraud? It's like, I think my dad, when he took his, like, citizenship test or whatever, I don't think it was a citizenship test. It's like when you like apply for it or something, and they ask you a bunch of questions like, are you affiliated with the mafia, or are you like a part of this cartel, or like stupid, like, what is somebody gonna answer yes? Like, you have to be a retard to fail this qualification or whatever. Like, this is equally as dumb. Like, are you committing fraud? No, of course not. Like, no shit, a fraudster would say that.
Footage
like,
from the same day Shirley was
who would
here.
admit to fraud?
According to the timestamps in the videos, this woman takes a young child into the center at around 9 a.m. that.
So like I said, this is to me more evidence that these are community-run businesses, like serving a small community within themselves. Like, they go in through the back entrance, basically. Like, they know how this operates. They probably know the owners personally.
Shirley arrives at the door closer to the street. Within the hour after Shirley leaves.
Also, what the heck? Was somebody leaving?
Closer to the street.
Was somebody going in as Shirley showed up? Or is this like another business or something?
Within the hour after Shirley leaves, a woman arrives at the other door with a stroller. A larger family heads inside a few.
See, like, all these people know to go in through the back door. So, like I said, to me, it's just evidence that these people already know each other. They know exactly how the business works. It's like not worried about catering to outsiders.
Hours later. Tuesday afternoon, WCCO found at least a dozen children at
not to be racist, but it looks like all the kids are brown.
With the state. Records show Minnesota officials last visited the daycare in November, noting some corrected and ongoing violations related to day-to-day operations, but no record of fraud.
What did I do? I'm just a typical human being who wants to live and do the right thing. I have kids to feed.
Umi Hassan.
Look, I'm sympathetic to this person because if it's true what they're saying, right? Imagine a world in which they're not committing fraud and they're truthfully just running a business and trying to take care of kids and trying to do things the good way, the honest way. And all of a sudden you're accused of fraud. I could understand that would be annoying and problematic and stressful. And if it turns out that they're not committing fraud, which I'm not saying they're not, I'm just saying potentially if that were the case hypothetically, then that's a blunder on Nick Shirley's part because you just exposed a business to attention and stress that is undue and not accurate, which, like I said, he just should have been more careful.
The daycare's current owner believes these latest fraud accusations are political. Both she and Hassan are Somali Americans.
We pay our taxes.
Yeah, we could tell, bro.
We do whatever we can to be a law-abiding citizen. At the same time, when one Somali does something wrong, we all get collective punishment.
With Shirley's
Okay, like, no shit, bro. And it's not just one. Like I showed you, there's a whole list of people involved in that. The food care, whatever it's called, I forgot what it's called. In the food care fraud and other frauds that are all Somalis. So, I mean, it's not one case of, oh, one Somali did it, and now we all have that bad attention. It's common for Somalis to defraud taxpayers.
video now approaching 2.3 million views on YouTube alone. They say they are getting non-stop phone calls harassing them.
I was looking for a place for my granddaughter.
With many of those calls attached to out-of-state phone numbers.
See, like, that would be annoying if this is a legitimate daycare and they didn't commit any fraud. This is just, I mean, yeah, negative attention, stress on the business, potentially, you know, destroying a business because you made a mistake.
They normally say, knock, knock, we're gonna come, or you're gonna arrest, you know, something like that.
Hassan says they turned over attendance records to comply with the Department of Homeland Security request. They're now waiting to hear back. CBS News is reviewing records related to the same daycares. All but 2 have active licenses. And Aaron, while the active places have violations related to safety or staff training, there's no recorded evidence.
I don't know what he was going to say there. But yeah, some of these places have already been investigated back in, I think, 2019. There was a videoed investigation. I forgot which network did it. But they basically did the same thing Shirley did. And they went and knocked and they asked and trying to enroll a kid and see if anybody was there, and there's nobody there. But like I said, this gives me more reason to believe that these are closed, like quote unquote closed to outsiders. And in that video, they did find there were violations, but not fraud exactly. They were saying they were missing documents for kids, like their vaccination records, things like this, but not exactly that the kids weren't there. Let me see what this video is. I actually have no idea what this is.
Surveillance, no trespassing, security armed. This is the strangest, different place.
Oh, this is just a clip from the video. Okay. I don't know why he linked this idiot. Nick Shirley presents something like exposing massive fraud, but his entire premise relies on misunderstanding how home daycare and home healthcare actually works in big cities. In Minnesota, as in many large cities, Somali families and many immigrant communities rely heavily on at-home daycare and at-home healthcare. This isn't suspicious. It's normal, cultural, and economic. Okay. Don't know that that's relevant here. Okay, so this is a good point. What he brings up about the healthcare locations. These aren't clinics. These are just offices. And they're there to process, as he says here, licensing, billing, compliance, scheduling, and paperwork. Care happens in people's homes, not in the office. And he uploads a screenshot of what I assume is like some government website or something. And that's clearly says patients are never expected to show up there. That's plausible. That's believable. The fact that these are offices and they're not meant to take in people other than employees. And then here he says, Shirley relies heavily on language barriers to cast out on owners and employees. People understandably confused why a random 23-year-old man is barging into an office demanding daycare or healthcare that are never provided on site. I don't know if this one is supposed to be offices as well. Like, does a daycare really need offices? I could understand like a clinic having a separate office, like a daycare. Like, is it really that big of an organization where you need an office? I would assume they do their books at home or something, or in the actual daycare itself. And also, the language barrier is a stupid cope, because you shouldn't have a language barrier if you're in this country, bro. How about you learn English, damn it? And then he admits here, which is a fair admission. Are there real fraud cases in Minnesota? Yes, like every state. Does co-location, quiet offices, or home-based care prove fraud? Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to watch this video. But he brings up some fair points. And I don't mean to be, unappreciative of his, because, as somebody pointed out, I don't see, somebody said in the last video I did, they're like, I don't see you doing investigative work. And that's true. I'm here sitting on my ass reacting to a video he did. He does real investigative journalism. I'm just here reacting, okay? I'm giving my opinion. If you want to hear my opinion, that's why you're here, all right? If you don't, then get out. But it's true. I'm appreciative for people like Nick Shirley because they do the real work, right? They go out there and they're on the ground and they see what things look like in real life, not on paper, not behind a screen, not in a document. But even still, you have to call out when there's some discrepancy in the investigation. So this is the son of the owner of Quality Learning Center. By the way, they since changed their sign. So if you didn't see the investigation, they misspelled learning. They put leering. They've since changed the sign and corrected it. But this is a son of the owner explaining that Shirley came outside of operating hours.
What would you say to Nick Shirley, the YouTuber, if he was standing in front of you?
I have
right
nothing
now?
against him himself, but I do have something against the rhetoric. It's if you're gonna be a journalist, just have a moral compass. Like, do what you do correctly. If you catch businesses that are fraud, no one here is with that, or like we don't support that as a community. I don't support that myself. I was born and raised here. I'm not for fraud. Like the notion that hey, a certain batch of somebody got caught, so all of them support it. It's like no one. If in any community, any mishaps that happen, the rest of the community obviously doesn't want that to happen. It's a stain on all of our name, as you guys can see. We don't want that to happen. We don't take part in that. We don't like that. We don't.
Which is a fair thing to say. Like, obviously, if you're a part of a community, if you're associated with a group of people, then you wouldn't want to propagate fraud in that community unless you're all fraudsters, right? Like in the food. Oh my gosh, let me open because I forget what is this called? Feeding Our Future. The Feeding Our Future case. Because that's a significant case, the Feeding Our Future. And all of them involved were Somalis, except, a handful of white people or whatever. But yeah, unless you're all committing fraud, you don't want one person to be committing fraud and to, ruin the name of the other people in your community. Like he said, that's a fair assessment. That's a fair worry to have.
But just to say, hey, a certain company got caught, so they must all do it, and I feel like that's what he's doing. I'm not a fan.
2 to 10 p.m. may not be your typical daycare hours, so can you explain why it is that you operate during these hours? The reason for that is we're after school hours. So most of our clients, not most of our clients, all of our clients is after school hours. So schools, earliest dismissal would be 2:15 to 2:30ish, and the latest dismissal would be up to like 4:30ish, 4:40ish. So that's when our kids come to us. We don't have anyone in the morning. We deal with only parents and clients that come to us after school. So that's why ours are 2 to 10 p.m. If we try to do, once again, I'd like to conclude, the YouTuber that was making the claims, you were here earlier today. I came here at 1 o'clock. You were here. Where are you now? You claim we're closed. You claim we're a fraud. Where are you? Why are you not here right now? It's like you're trying to put out a certain message about a certain group. I'm not going to make that claim. I don't want to make that claim without me knowing him personally, but that's what it seems like he's doing from his front. Where are you right now? He was here earlier. He was recording us. We had no issue with it. We told him, hey, just get off our property. You can record. Now he's not here. He was here earlier today.
Now he brings up a fair point. Let me mute this. Now he brings up a fair point. Obviously these investigators here, these reporters, whoever's recording him, talking to him, obviously they were able to get a hold of him when the business was open. Why was Nick Shirley not able to? Surely it would have been easy to just show up at a normal hour and confront the guy and be like, ask him his questions or whatever, or see that the place is open. What is this? Did I watch this? Did I mean to have this open? I think, okay, yeah, let's watch this. So this is part of where people are saying they're licensed for 40 children, as you can see here at the bottom. Licensed for 40 children. And this is what I mean. I don't know if I brought this up earlier when they say how much money was stolen. Like, where are these figures coming from? I can't find them. So somebody can figure it out and let me know. That would be great. Because, like, as you see here, they're still referencing, this is from the video itself. So I want to see the source, the source of the documents. All right. What would they say? Primary source in journalism? Anyway. So licensed for 40 children. I don't know what that means. They can have up to 40 children. They should have 40 children. They're supposed to have 40 children. Or they have 40 children, in and out, on a weekly basis. Like, what does that mean?
Is this daycare committing fraud?
No, we're not committing fraud.
Hassan showed us security footage from the same day Shirley was
okay,
sleeping heads inside a few arrived.
Okay, well, what people were saying here is like, in the video, you can only see 12 kids and they're licensed for 40. But like I said, I don't know what that means. Are they supposed to have 40 children on site every time somebody shows up? Now, this is Tiki Brown, and she made the mistake of saying that Quality Learning Center was closed. Now, whether that was true, I don't know. I think she's just an idiot who made a mistake. Look at the guns, bro. Hold on. Tickets to the gun show. What's up? This is what y'all wanted to see? I'm sorry. Yeah, she is a retard, I guess, and she made a mistake and said that the place was closed.
Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and
Families,
Tiki Brown, responded to the video on Monday, saying there were children present at the sites when they were visited by the state.
We do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously. Each of the facilities mentioned in the video has been visited at least once in the last 6 months as part of our typical licensing process. And in fact, our staff are out in the community today to visit each of these sites again so that we can look into the concerns that were raised in the video.
She added none of the child care centers featured in the video have had their payments paused, but 2 were shut down by the state previously. One as recently as last week.
When I saw the bank.
Oh wait, now I remember why I included this video. Because I saw people claiming they would reference this video and say, oh, this lady said, okay, I take it back. I'm sorry for calling her a retard. But I had forgotten initially why I included this video. And this video in the video that I'm doing right now. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah, people were using this video to say, oh, she claims Quality Learning Center was closed a week ago. But she never said in this video that Quality Learning Center was closed. She just said one of the sites in the investigation was closed a week ago. She didn't say which one. Maybe there's a longer video where she says which one, but at least here she didn't say it. So maybe I'm missing something, but I saw people saying, oh, what is this lady's name? Tiki Brown? Anyway, they're saying she said that Quality Learning Center was closed a week ago. And they went, and obviously you can see it's open. The owner's son is there. But I didn't see her say it. So I don't know if people are lying or they misheard what she said, or maybe she says it in another clip that I didn't find that's not here. Who knows? So this I have open. Deco, the name of this daycare is Deco Family Center in Minnesota. It was a previous case of fraud, also perpetrated by Somali. So just to say, like, there are cases of fraud in the past. As it says here, authorities suggested the case was part of a broader sprawling fraud scheme involving Minnesota child care and learning centers, with the FBI noting that it might just be the tip of a very large iceberg. Now, this was 10 years ago. Why has nothing been done about this? I don't know since then. So I'm not saying there's not fraud. I'm saying it's very likely that there's fraud. But when you do your investigation kind of haphazardly, people will cast down on it, and it decreases the strength of your investigation. But the truth is, fraud is prevalent among Somali communities in Minnesota. I was going to bring up this clip, but I think it's in reference to the food thing. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I already forgot. Feeding families, feeding our future. Oh no, this is the daycare, the Deco daycare thing. Yeah, they collected $3.7 million from the state. Ali and Muhammad. Like, oh my gosh, I wonder what their ethnicity is. Yeah, so all that to say, fraud is prevalent in the Somali community. Nick Shirley probably did expose some places that probably are conducting fraud. I don't know that all of them are. I don't know that any of them are. But he opened the possibility that they might be, based on things that he saw, clues that he saw. But he made some mistakes in his investigation that opens up lefties to go and make claims that he did it in bad faith, or that he's lying or intentionally misleading people. I personally think he just made a mistake. He didn't realize they weren't open, and he went and visited and trusted this guy, David, that he went with. And like I said, he made a mistake. All of this, I guess, is just, a warning to, it's a learning experience for him. He's 23, he's young. He's going to get better at his investigations as he goes on. And I'm sure he's not used to putting this much work into an investigation, because it seems like most of his videos are just interacting with people on the street and getting an idea of what they think, what the temperature is on the street. And this was more of an organized investigation for him. And it seems like he did what he usually did. Just go on the ground and see what's happening. And he trusted this other guy's information to be accurate. But yeah, I mean, aside from not seeing kids there, how do you know the claims you're making are accurate? As the CNN lady said, just some things to think about. Like I said, I hate having to keep putting up this caveat, but like I said, I'm sure he pulled on the thread of something that is potentially fraud in Minnesota. A lot of these daycares probably are committing fraud. They might be committing fraud. Or it's very possible they might not. I don't know. They're just allegations at the minute. He just brought up evidence. But when you make mistakes, other people will cast doubt on the evidence you provided. Thanks for watching. What should I say? Maybe I'll comb my hair in the next video. I'll try to get an Instagram account. You guys follow me on Instagram. I don't have it linked yet. Follow me on Twitter. I do have my Twitter linked in my bio. But do follow me on Instagram when I put it in my bio. I don't have it yet because I don't have a real Instagram name yet. I need to get a handle. But follow me. I will follow you back. I'm trying to have an NT looking Instagram so I can interact with people in real life. But yeah, thanks for watching. And yeah, we'll see what else I cover. I'm going to be going ham in 2026, posting every day. All right. We're going to be going at it, or at least trying to post every day. It's kind of hard with the work schedule and social life and other, going to the gym, things like that. So maybe the quality of the videos Might diminish. Can you believe that? We can, the bar is pretty low, but we can go lower from here, folks. So yeah. And when I say the quality is going to diminish, I'm saying maybe the extent to which I research beforehand, because that's what I try to do. I try to research a lot. As you can see, I have all these tabs open, and I try to read through all of them to know exactly what I'm going to say, or at least have some talking points in my head before I present. But obviously, if I have less time to do that, then I'm just going to be reacting in real time, and I don't want to do that. But if I have to, it's what I'll do. It's the nature of the game. I don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, love all of you who watch, even the haters. I love everybody who comments. And please leave your comments. Let me know what you think. I'll react if they're high IQ. Might leave a heart. Yeah. Thanks for watching.